Alright, so today it's Foundation Friday. This is where I normally try out a new foundation every single Friday on my channel, 6 p.m. Pacific time, but I also do different base related videos, so different foundation routines, talk about my favorites, concealers, foundations, whatever we're talking about related to the base. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys one of my foundation routines that is probably the most long-lasting, creaseless one I have found so far. If you're new here, I have dry skin. I always tend to crease on my upper lip throughout the day, and then also like around my nose tends to kind of break down, and my forehead is where I struggle with most on first application. So if a foundation looks really good up here on my forehead, it usually wears pretty well throughout the day on my forehead, but down here is where it kind of like breaks down. So this foundation routine, I'm sharing with you guys every single step, primer, powder, like everything. The combo of these products look like skin, but still give me coverage. It's a good shade, and it's actually one of the few times my boyfriend has commented on my skin and on my foundation. Normally he just says he likes every makeup thing that I wear, but this one, like this routine, he has actually commented on, which is shocking. You know, it's good. Also, at the end of this video, I show you how it looks in natural lighting so you can see super up close on my other camera. I zoom in and show you what it looks like there as well. Also, a little reminder, you can pick up the W hoodie. It's available right now, ships internationally, runs about a size big, super thick, super comfy. If you ordered one and you have it in the mail now, definitely tag me on Instagram so I can see. I'm going to be reposting you guys. Tag me on your story so I can like repost the story. But if you enjoy Foundation Friday, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, so starting off, I have already applied an SPF. I didn't want to do it on camera because it's actually discontinued, the one I've been using, but it was the Kate Somerville Defense, something that I've talked about in a favorites video, but it is no longer being made. Very sad. But you can just start off by applying whatever SPF you like. And then I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Illuminating Primer. So I've been loving this. Laura Mercier recently kind of rebranded, redid their packaging for their primers. Laura Mercier primers, there's something about them. I think it's one of the few primers that actually makes your makeup stay on a little bit better throughout the day. It's hard to find, but I do think there's something in the formula of these that there's a little bit of magic happening. So a cheaper alternative would be the Milani Soft Focus Glow. However, I don't feel like this one really makes your makeup stay on any longer. It more just gives you that glowy kind of base. So that's like the main difference between these two. And I like using this too when I'm just not wearing makeup that day. It almost has like a similar look to the Essence Fresh Fit and Awake primer that I love, that I always talk about. If you don't like a glow but you have dry skin, the hydrating one is also really nice. So as soon as I show you the foundation, some of you might be rolling your eyes because it was the same foundation that I used in my last current foundation routine video, but that was from, I think, a few months ago now. And I actually am using a new powder with it that I think is like, it's like even better. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, this has been the best foundation combo for me lately. I think I'm actually almost out of this foundation, you guys. That's how much I've been using this. This is the Etude House Double Lasting Foundation, SPF 34 in the shade number 2. I like using this foundation with a sponge or brush. In the last video, I used it with a sponge, but lately I've been just using it with a brush and then like pressing it in with the sponge. I mean, either one works, kind of depending on what look I'm going for too. I definitely like to press this foundation into the skin, stipple it on. It gives the best coverage that way. If you just go in and blend, you're going to lose a lot of the coverage, but this is an affordable foundation you can get on Yes Style for pretty cheap. They mark it on sale quite a bit. Love the shade, just love the finish, how it lasts on my skin. I do feel like the Laura Mercier kind of comes through this. You can see the glow coming through, but if you don't like this much coverage, but you still like the longevity and everything about this foundation, you can definitely shear it out and just use less product or blend it out with a damp sponge. I do like to bring my foundation over my eyelids just to kind of conceal a little bit, but you can see that just covered up pretty much all of my redness and everything. The powder I'm going to be using does have some coverage in it, which I love. So it's going to add even more coverage over here and give the final effect of like basically full coverage. I wouldn't say it's like opaque full coverage, but definitely looks like full coverage on my skin. A little bit of this foundation also goes a long way. I think I am going to need to repurchase that foundation because it sounds like I'm almost out, unless I can like scrape some from the bottom there, which is rare. The only other foundation I can think of that I have fully finished in like the last few years is A Cosmetics CC Illumination and CYO Life Proof Foundation. Okay, so now I'm just taking the sponge and pressing that into my skin. I especially like doing this on my forehead. I feel like with this foundation, it really makes a difference. It just makes it look like my skin when I really press it in. And I like using a dry sponge with this. The only dry sponge I love is LA Girl. That's the only sponge I like using dry. I don't find that it like soaks up a lot of the product, and you can totally use it wet or dry. Moving out the finish. By the way, I do want to know what you guys think of foundations I recommend after you try them. So if you tried this after my last video or you already have it, do let me know how it worked for you down below. I always say everyone's skin is totally different. So a foundation that I love, you might hate, and vice versa. Take my recommendations with a grain of salt, like anything else you see or read or whatever. Products just work differently for different people, so do your research and figure out if it might work for you. For concealer, I'm going to be using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Light 2 Vanilla. So I am almost out of this. I probably have like 1 or 2 more uses in here because I'm like kind of scraping the sides at this point. Every time I go back to this mascara, what is this, concealer, it's just one of the best. If you've never tried this formula, I think they make travel size, like small sizes now from Sephora, so you could try it out that way. Like just get, I think the small ones are like 12 bucks or something. I like letting this one sit on for maybe like 30 seconds. I feel like it gives the best coverage that way. This is one of the most long-lasting concealers on me. I love the coverage, I love the finish of it, just everything. If you really struggle with your under eyes like I do, this one is pretty long lasting. I always get questions about this brush. It's the Morphe E45. It's my favorite for under eye concealer. I've been using this for, I mean, I don't know, you can look at my videos, at least 6 months now for my under eye concealer. It's the closest I've found to the one that was discontinued. If you've watched for a long time, you know what I'm talking about, but this just blends it out. It's not too stiff, but it's not too flimsy. It's just the right amount of dense. So I just blend out those edges, and as you can see, this concealer is full coverage. It lays on the skin so nicely. Like, this is one of the concealers I can kind of bring around my pores a little bit more than usual, and it doesn't look bad. Some concealers for me, I need to set right away, and then some I feel like look better if I kind of let them dry down a bit and then go in with powder. And this is one of those concealers for me where once it sets down, because this one doesn't totally like crease a ton as it sets, if it has more of a dry finish and then I go in with powder, the powder doesn't have as much to like stick to and look super cakey. So I usually give it maybe like a minute or so between putting it down right now and then when I apply under eye powder. So as that's drying down, I'm going to talk about the face powder that I use. This powder has been one of those ones where the first few times I was like, what is different about my makeup? At the end of the night, I would look at my face and realize like something was different, but I wasn't quite figuring out what it was. And then I realized that the powder was the common denominator. This powder is so beautiful. It's the Urban Decay Stay Naked The Fix in 20 CP. So this does have some coverage. I don't like using it on its own, but I love using this to set my face. It, I would say, gives like a velvet finish, but it really sets your makeup in there. So I'm about to hit pan on this guy right there. It is a very soft powder. This shade is actually light enough for me to use under my eyes, but I don't like using it on its own. I feel like it doesn't work under my eyes quite as well as it does on my face. So I'm just going to be mixing it with the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder in LC1 for my under eyes. I just mixed these 2 colors for my under eyes. I'm basically just trying to finish this one off, but I love the Maybelline Super Stay Powder for my under eyes as well. Using the Morphe E49. By the way, my foundation brush was Sigma F80. I always link the brushes I use down below too. So I kind of just dip back and forth between the 2 powders and make sure the last one I dip into is the lightest one so that it doesn't darken my under eyes too much. And I do go over my lid as well. My under eyes, I always have, you know, trouble with. I get creasing because I have lines under there. So I basically just try and find combos that look the best. Nothing is gonna look like absolutely perfect under my under eyes because I'm human and I have under eye creases, you know, like us all, most of us. Except I feel like not a lot of people on YouTube do for some reason. Some people I look at and they can just like bake and I'm like, what's happening? How does that look so smooth and perfect? Favorite powder brush to use with this is the Milani Powder Bronzer Brush. Freaking beautiful. The bristles are so soft. It's affordable. It's dense, but not, again, too dense or too flimsy. This is one of those few powders that on my drier skin, I can apply this all over my forehead if I want to. I can apply it around my pores, on my upper lip. It doesn't crease. It is crazy. This is like one of the few powders on me that really helps my upper lip creasing and just around my nose look like smooth throughout the day. When I do this combo, I have 0 upper lip creasing. If you guys have seen my Foundation Fridays, you know how rare that is. It's very hard to find for my skin. So I just swirl my brush in here, kind of press down, and then I always like to, again, press my powder into my face just to give the best coverage. This does have a matte finish, the powder, So because I have glowier products underneath and I'm going to be using a glowy setting spray, once I finish everything, the overall effect is kind of like a satin to glowy finish, but when I apply the powder, it definitely looks like more on the matte side. In my opinion, this is a bit of a blurring powder. I mean, I don't have filters on my videos or anything, so you guys are really seeing what it looks like, and to me that looks like it just kind of like smoothed it out. On my forehead, I like to keep a glow right here, but then set the rest of my forehead so that I can easily blend stuff, and I just feel like it adds a bit of coverage. So I'm not bringing it right between my eyebrows, but I could with this one if I wanted to. So the bronzer I've still been using most often has been this shade, which is what I talked about in the last foundation routine video. So I'm not going to use that in this video just to switch it up, but if you want to know how I apply this and what I think of it, this is a super nice cool toned bronzer. So instead I'm going to use Kylie Tequila Tan. This has been another one of my go-tos just because it's not too orangey or too intense. It can look pretty natural on the skin. I'm just going to take that on my Flower Beauty brush. Just realized I haven't done brows yet. So this one you can really build up. I find that it looks the least orange if I just do a really light wash. I'm not doing like a whole lot of contouring, you know? I just want to kind of warm up my face a little bit. If I want to do more of a contoured bronze, I'll go in with this one. Before I do blush and bronzer, I'm just going to pop on some brows. Okay, now for blush, I've just been reaching for NARS Orgasm the most lately. This is just what I've been wanting to use. You can also get smaller travel sizes of this one, which I feel like if I didn't have this, like I would totally just do that because it's cheaper. And when was the last time I went through an entire blush? I don't even remember. I do want a little bit of contour. Again, this is what I've been doing, so I'm just going to add a touch of this. You need literally one tiny dab of this bronzer. It's way too pigmented in my opinion, but I love the shade of it, so I make it work, you know? Thought I could live without it today, but I can't. Sneezed. Saved your eardrums and cut that out. You can always go back in with your powder brush and just kind of blend out those edges a bit. One of my most reached for highlighters lately has been the Milani Dolce Perla 110 Baked Highlighter. Oh my god, this is beautiful. This is literal heaven. It doesn't look quite as pink as it does in the pan. It's almost more like, I mean, you'll see it on my face, but I'm using the Milani Oliver blending brush, and this is such an underrated highlight. If you have textured skin, this you need in your life. Affordable, beautiful. It almost looks like butter on your skin. It's just that formula where it's like, look at that. And I'm going to take that same highlight, put it on my Cupid's bow, and nose. Again, if you like more of a matte look, then don't add a nose highlight, because I feel like when you add a nose highlight, it kind of makes your overall face look more dewy. I'm just going to show you guys the eyes too because it takes 2 seconds, and why not? Basically just been reaching for these two shades on a daily basis because they're cool toned and perfection. So this one is what I put into my crease, and I just put that over my lid. Super easy. So first taking that grayish shade for an everyday basis. I just love a simple matte cool toned eye. And I did prime my eyes using MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. Then taking that lightest cream shade on my finger, I'm just going to press that on the lid. I love how pigmented this one is, and it's just very soft. It's hard to find shades like this that aren't like chalky. Going in with eyeliner, I love the new Hyper Easy by Milani. It's a brush tip liquid liner. I do find that it's very long lasting, even if you have like watery eyes and stuff, but if your eyes are watering as you're applying it, it will bleed. So just be aware of that. But I've just been keeping this super close to my lash line, not doing a wing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm actually going to be going over it with black eyeshadow to kind of smudge it. But I'm just going to dip into some black eyeshadow and smudge that out. By doing this, I'm just kind of softening it, and I am creating a wing, but as you can see, it's not like a harsh wing. I'm just creating that wing shape, but kind of feathering it out a little bit so it's not like a defined point. Before I apply mascara and lipstick, I'm just going to go with setting spray. This is key for me always. Even if you feel like setting spray doesn't do anything to help with the longevity of your makeup, it does really help to just melt all the products together and look even more skin-like. The one that I feel like works the best with this combo is the Urban Decay All Nighter. Also, this highlight, it gets taken to the next level if you use a setting spray because it turns even more into that like wet look highlight. Lately, I've been loving the Essence Lash Princess Volume version. I really like the blue one as well, and the Revlon So Fierce. I just layer these. So first I start with this Essence one, and I put on a pretty thick layer. I like really voluminous, thick lashes. I'm not trying to go for like a natural look here. Oh, F. Why? Seriously, for a foundation routine too? All right, well, I'm gonna let that fully dry and then we're gonna deal with that situation. I mean, this stuff happens, so I'd rather like leave it in, you know, and show you guys how to fix it if we can. We'll find out, but ignore that in the meantime. And then before that's fully dried, I'll go in with the Revlon So Fierce. This one is really good at separating, but still adding volume. So I find that this is a really good second coat mascara. It definitely adds some length separation, but still keeps the volume. It just makes you look like you have more lashes, basically. I'm hoping you guys can see that. So lately I haven't been doing lower lash mascara. I've just been liking the look of nothing on my bottom lashes, which I know isn't everyone's cup of tea, but for me, I find that sometimes it makes my eyes look even bigger and just brighter. But I want to make sure that this is fully dry, like dry, dry, dry. We're not going to risk it for the biscuit, okay? So I'm going to do my lips while that is drying down. So I think for lipstick today, I'm going to use Smashbox Fair Game. Not only is this one of my all-time favorite liquid lipstick formulas, the Smashbox, but their applicator is just perfect because you don't need a lip liner at all because it's a fine point but also kind of stiff. You can really easily create that line and you don't really need a lip liner at all. And then I'm going to top it with, you guessed it, Wet n Wild Caught You Bare Naked. All right, folks, wish me luck. Ooh, we might be lucky. It looks like it might be sitting on the surface a little bit. So I'm just taking a concealer brush. This is Sigma F75. This is the kind of brush I like to use for doing this. And just first, I want to make sure this is dry. Yeah, it looks like some of it's sitting on top. So I'm kind of just trying to flick off. Okay, and then now I'm just lightly using the brush to try and wipe that off. I'm going to be going back in with my face powder now. If I go in with liquid at this point, it's a disaster. Don't try that. I've been there, and I actually just like to take my finger and kind of press it on the spot I need, and then I'll probably have to go back over it with highlight, but I just want to kind of conceal the black as much as I can. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but hopefully it'll be enough to where we can't notice it when I film the intro of this video. So let me know if you noticed in the intro or not. Man, this is not my makeup day. Now I'm having issues with my lipstick. Oh my god. And my hair. Okay, I think this is as good as we're gonna get today. So it's about 5:20 right now when I'm filming this, so I think there should be a little bit of natural lighting left. So I do want to show you guys what this looks like in natural lighting so you can really see everything, see my pores, see everything up close. So I'm gonna insert that right here. Okay, so I'm right in front of the window. There's not quite as much light left as I had hoped for. The sun is like going down. There's the sunset, but I think we can get an idea. Love the way my forehead looks with this combo. I think the color might be a little bit more true to color in here. So here's another shot in front of the window, just in a different room. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. This is what I've been doing if I need a foundation to stay on all friggin' day and look amazing and not crease. If you did, you can give this video a thumbs up. I'm gonna have all the products I used on my face listed down below in the description box. If you try after seeing this or have tried any of these products, definitely let me know what you think of them down below in the comments. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.